And if I visit my daughter's home, I'm free to even go into her bedroom because she's not married. A traditional part about everything, you're not just allowed to go in the bedroom when the child is married. If she's not married, I'm allowed to go into her bedroom. I can go in a bedroom if there's a Mr. Zimba staying. Like Maureen was saying, can you imagine? That man moved into her home.
Yeah.
So you can tell there's a man staying in my daughter's home by the way she's put things. You even say, Mommy, please, isn't it time for you to go for KBBK? Because she wants to get rid of you.
I like this, the way tradition and the church are coming together. Very nice. You're watching Woman 360. I know you are wondering those texts. We'll get to them. Do not worry. In the last episode, I know some of you already sent those messages when I actually mentioned that we'll be talking about cohabiting. We'll be getting to those later on. But then this one can be answered by any of you. Gender-based violence has become an issue in our society today. Women are being beaten every day by their husbands. Could cohabiting be part of this, or maybe we are exaggerating?
Oh, well,
yes, Ms. Mbwisa.
This beating issue, I think it could be partly cohabiting, but it's just some men feel it's right to beat a woman at whatever happens, which is very wrong. Traditionally, a man is the head of the house and is supposed to be respected. But do you think by beating you solve any problems? You don't.
Anything to add on, Reverend?
Yes, we cannot say it's because of cohabiting. Yes, it can play a part because sometimes the man wants to get rid, like the story of Maureen. He wants to get, thank God that man was a gentleman. But others are not gentlemen. They, you know, when time comes, when they want to marry, they have engaged. They will try to abuse the woman so that she may pack and leave.
The colored people, I'm not being segregative, please don't get me wrong. But they were saying, it's okay to cohabit. It allows you to get to know the person, especially for a lady as well, that you can, you know, men really change sometimes in marriage. So when you stay with him, you get to know him. What's your comment on that?
Even way back when they would do kobekela for a long time, what used to happen was you go and visit your fiancé's village with your young cousin or your young sister. That's how you knew that man. Even in the year of today, when you are engaged, you are allowed to go and visit, not to go and sleep there, not to go and make love. You go and visit. You see, you start by washing his shirts bit by bit. You know, you're knowing this person. So this is saying cohabiting is the best way to know somebody. How about if he has his other problems or his other sicknesses? You can't know. I don't know what my sister thinks.
First and foremost, I don't see it in the Bible. And anything that I do not see in the Bible, I've got a problem. When God...
I'm loving these women because they're not really leaving any stone unturned. They're just getting to the point and they're telling us exactly what it's supposed to be. Now, for some of you who have been giving us those SMSs for contributions, they'll be scrolling on your screens. And because of the time, we're just going to ask the ladies the SMSs that you've been sending in terms of questions. So, ladies, the first SMS is saying, I know cohabiting is wrong, but I have been cohabiting for 2 years. How is the best way I can get out of it?
Pack your katundu today and go. If he loves you, he's going to follow you. He's going to bring the plates. I don't know, whatever you can call it, you've done everything. 2 years. Even sweet Maureen only stayed a year.
Anything on that, Reverend?
She needs to seek spiritual help as soon as possible so that she may be helped how she can either normalize that relationship or come out.
Winding up 1360, your last comment.
What I would love to say is traditionally cohabiting is wrong. We thank God for Maureen who came out and gave out the truth. Please, Vanavandi, Konsoko, wherever you are, if you are cohabiting, pack your bag today and get back home.
Those that are cohabiting, let them seek spiritual help as soon as possible. It is a sin. We have no any other right word to, you know, to say concerning cohabiting. We cannot even encourage it. Eventually it will destroy you. And secondly, let us not help God. God knows what you desire in your life.
This has been 360 degrees of women issues, and next week on Woman 360 we are talking about is age an issue when it comes to getting married, especially for ladies? Is there such a thing as I'm too young as a lady to get married, or I'm too old as a lady to get married? I'll introduce my special guest during the week, so get texting as usual. Type TV2 360, leave a space, your comment, and we'll be able to start with your questions when we come next week talking about whether age is an issue for a lady to get married. This has been Judy Ngulube. Good evening.
You can tell.
Hi, thank you for watching Woman 360. Our topic for tonight: are women patient enough to get married? Do women panic to get married? And if so, why? My guest for this evening, a delightful woman, Joyce Nonde Simukoko, who got married at the tender age of 50 years old. Join me after this. All right, now that we have dealt with our unfinished business, we can go straight into our program for this evening. And of course, Woman 360 wants to involve you people out there in what we are discussing, because it's issues that affect us, especially the ladies. Of course, the men can't be put aside, but the women are the ones who are really affected by this. So I went into the streets of Lusaka just to have a mini survey to find out, do women panic to get married? Are women patient enough to wait for that Mr. Right? Look at what people had to say about this.
Becoming like very common, apart from ladies, like they're running from troubles, problems from home and stuff. But I think the proper age group is maybe 26, 25.
So that's about money and everything nowadays.
Marriage nowadays, unless when you find a spiritual man who understands God, who knows God, who fears God. Yes.
But do you think the ladies are not rushing into marriage nowadays?
No, I don't think so.
Why don't you think? What's the reason for them not rushing?
Because of the problems that are there in marriage nowadays.
Okay.
Yes.
Which problems?
Communication. I can mention a lot of things.
Abana kashiringiri these days batemwafe fancy no kwangala sana. That's why tulemoneringiri n'abaomi balebwera mokubopo mulandu akutira ati n'abatemwa fancy nefintu ifisuma sana.
Yes, I do, because of pressure when they hear their friends are getting married, so they think they should also get married, especially when they turn 21, 22, yeah.
I'm saying yes if at all they don't have something to do. They rush into that, but if they, let's say they have something to do or they go to school, they wait for that. Yes.
It depends on. Okay, it depends on the situation. It could be circumstances, financial circumstances, or peer pressure, or parental pressure, or the need to, maybe somebody can't pay or buy nice clothes, then they would find a man who can do that, so they'll be obliged to get married to him if he offers marriage.
Okay, some ladies panic to get into marriage, but some of them, they take their time.
Why do you say so?
Because I've seen most of the ladies, when they see that the man has got money, they rush into marriage without knowing that man. But some of them take their time in courtship, and you know, this time men are difficult to find. So most of the ladies panic to get into marriage.
I think they've got a certain age where beauty starts to fade. Say like if somebody has reached the age of 28, the beauty starts to fade and they just think of settling down.
This is Woman 360 and my guest is here. I told you we're going to have a guest, a beautiful, delightful woman. I was telling her earlier on before we came on set that she looks younger than she is. She must tell us what the secret is about this looking young, you know. Some of us are struggling, but look at her. She looks younger than she is.
I don't think you are struggling, Judy. First, I would like to thank you for inviting me. And also, I think we should have as many women programs as possible. We have a lot of issues. We need to be assisted in so many ways. As you know, we are coming from a very poor background, as our women must be in the kitchen. Yes. So I'm happy that you are bringing up all these topics that women can learn from.
All right, thank you so much. At least today you're going to see her in another view. You're not going to see her talking about Zambia Union of, you know, financial and allied workers and quarreling with people. Today we're getting a little bit more personal with her. She got married at 50 years old. Maybe just to start, how did you meet Mr. Simkoko?
Okay. Yeah, I think Mr. Simkoko, you remember he was my boss at one time as Zambia National Building Society, and I used to terrorize him a lot as a labor leader. And somehow we became good friends in the process. He left the building society and we still met at different fora. But he was married then. He lost his wife sometime in 1997. And he was single then. And rarely we met, and we would share notes on a lot of things. I think we had a very good relationship in terms of discussing issues, maybe national issues. When we met, we talked and talked and talked. And I think in the process, we started attracting each other. I think, as we say, love is not about sex, but I think love has a lot of attributes. You need to understand the person. You must be attracted, maybe the way they talk, the way they reason. All those things matter. It's not the beauty. It's not your face, because beauty does vanish in the process. So I think a person's nature is more important than what people think. We all want to love, and we all want to be loved. Definitely. So we became very good friends. We talked on a lot of issues. And in the process, Mr. Simkoko proposed.
Okay. Were you surprised?
I saw a lot of...
You could see it coming slowly.
Yeah, yeah. You know, as you go along, you start seeing it coming slowly. But he did, and I played hard to get, despite being 50.
Okay.
You know, I always tell my colleagues that when he proposed, I told him, okay, I'll get back to you. I think he must have expected me to say, oh, yes, just because I'm too old now, I'm worried and I'm desperate. But I said, I'll get back to you. And when he told me later, he said he was also worried that I may say no.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't look excited. It was at a dinner.
Okay.
And he thought maybe I would say no. And now I have a cousin of mine, Regina, who I share with a lot, and I told her about it. She's the first person I told.
Okay.
And I told her that I told Mr. Simkoko that I'll come back to him. And, and she said, you fool. What if he doesn't come? Then I said, that's the problem, because I can't start telling him now that, oh, can we talk about marriage? Because I'm too proud to do that. Okay. So, and of course, it took time. And I was hoping he should remind me that, what about that issue? And he was not talking
considering
also.
It.
So one day we had dinner, and he reminded me, he said, are you still considering? I said, thank God. He has reminded me. So it started off, and I said yes. And of course, the process of the traditional part started.
Okay, that's very nice. A sweet story, very interesting.
Yeah.
And you know, you were 50, and as you were growing up, I don't know, in Africa, it's like, you know, we have this thing of when you get to 20, between 20 and 30, you
should be married.
You should be married. Your aunt is telling you this. Did you face some of those pressures?
I'm very happy that I come from a family. My mother and my father are never, my late now, they're both late. I lost my mother about 6 months ago.
Sorry about that.
They never ever put pressure on the girls on when are you getting married, why are you not getting married. But of course we did have such things from aunties, cousins and whatever. Yes. Mind you, I am the only one in the family who got married this late. My young sisters, my brothers got married.
Wow.
And I witnessed all their weddings, and you can imagine the pressure on me.
I can.
And how I felt. So when people panic, I always tell them, but how come I survived? Yes. So if I survived, anyone can survive.
Definitely.
You know, that's the problem. But of course, I can't say I didn't have pressure. I had pressure from aunties, as I said, friends. I married my good friends who were on the lineup. Okay. All of them were my closest friends. And they got married, and I was a bridesmaid at their weddings. Can you imagine the pressure?
I can imagine.
And of course, as you go around, people start asking, but why are you not yet married? What is the problem? And those answers, for me, even I was never bothered, really. Of course, sometimes I would sit back and say, oh, I wish I could get married. You know, it's normal.
Yes.
And sometimes, but I wouldn't, I knew that the minute I start panicking, I'll make a very wrong decision.
Definitely.
It is not like I was not being proposed by certain people who I didn't feel I liked, but if I had panicked, I would have gone away with anyone.
Yes.
You know, so that's why I tell the girls that don't panic. Make yourself busy. I made myself very, very busy. My trade union career made me very, very busy. When I get home, I'm tired. I just want to sleep. You see?
Yes.
So I didn't have a lot of idle time. I think the problem is we tend to have a lot of idle time. I did, all of us have a talent. You can identify what you think you love most, what you think you can pursue, what you think you can do. If it's education, follow it up.
Yes.
If it's a business, do it. If it's a career or a sport, do it. You know, don't sit at home and start dreaming and worrying about why you're not getting married.
Yes.
You know, I was shocked when one of my friends said, you can even go out. That is when, before I got married.
Yes.
You people, you're very free. You go out for tea, you go out for a drink in the hotel, and without a man, you're not accompanied. I said, so I have to be accompanied by a man. Or some people don't go for parties.
Yes.
You know, they're invited for a party because they don't have a partner. They would rather stay at home. How can you lead a life like that?
Imagine.
Life is very short, my friend. So enjoy life. What you shouldn't do is do things that will damage your life. But please make yourself busy. If it's career development, concentrate on that. If you're a businesswoman, whatever career you're doing, concentrate on it. Meet people. As many people as you can, mix with people. Don't, whenever you look at a man, you see sex, because that's the problem. Or when a man looks, men also, when they look at a woman, they want, don't allow them to do that. I have a lot of male friends, a lot of them. We can sit and chat and talk up to 2 a.m. They're just my friends. When I go for conferences and seminars, we will argue about politics, we will argue about this, and good night, you know. And they will respect you. Sometimes it's the way we carry on ourselves as women that make men start coming after you. No, look at them as your friends, and in the process, you can identify each other, whether you can live together, whether you can get married, whether you can go into relationships. It can come out. But pressure will be there. Society has contributed to making women rush for marriage because they will definitely start negative statements about women who are not married.
Yes, definitely.
They will talk about and all those statements.
Those are statements that you
and
really get. That's very
when
true.
you meet a married couple and you're single and you're introduced as a single person, even the looks that you get from the women,
they change. If she was smiling, she starts frowning now.
You start feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, those are issues that we go through. I went through such things. And sometimes I remember I was at a hotel, and then I was a trade unionist. Then I was in the limelight, because I started a long time before I became in the limelight. And I think the husband was that lady was in one of the financial institutions where I used to negotiate.
Yes.
And I recall he made a comment like, "This is a very intelligent young lady." And he looked at me, and the wife was not impressed.
Yes.
You know, I learned about it later. In fact, the wife came to tell me later in life. Yeah, I didn't even know. But
so she remembered and she
told me,
about
Joyce, you know, when my husband used to talk about you a lot, and I used to feel, is there something going on?
Definitely.
But you know, there was nothing. And
so that's a compliment.
Yeah, it was just a compliment. But to find some women do that, and they make other women feel very, very uncomfortable. Society has not been helpful to women. Even this thing of, we have campaigned against this of Mrs. MRS. What's your name? Mrs. Mkoko.
Yes.
You know, what are you saying to the others who are not married? We would prefer we continue with MS. MS.
Yes.
Please do always use that, even in the way you write, because this discrimination of men are just MR. Why are we MRS?
Definitely.
All that does affect women. I've heard when you are introducing yourself, when you say like me, I'll just say I'm Joyce Nondes Mkoko, and somebody will say, "Are you married?" And I will say, "What has that got to do with what we're talking about right now?" and you know, because that is also deliberately put there to intimidate women.
Definitely.
One time I had a quarrel with the minister in the Chiluba government. Not a quarrel. We are discussing issues of labor, and of course there was a very serious disagreement. And I was in the forefront saying no, and you know, being stubborn. And then he says, By the way, are you married? I said, what has the marriage got to do with what we are talking about? So, you know, there are all these frustrations that women go through. But, you know, you either go down with those frustrations or you sit back and say,
but why should
is
this
it worth
bring me
it?
down? Definitely.
If you are not married, so what?
It's true. Auntie Joyce, I like the way you're bringing out these issues because, you know, sometimes when you're a woman out there and you're going through these things, you think you're the only one. But at least when the ladies are listening right now and you're giving examples of what happened in your life, how you came to meet Mr. Sumkoko, they're actually realizing that I actually can handle that. It's actually very nice. And then there are other ladies out there who are thinking, but maybe she's got a stronger will. There are times where, you know, in life where you go to school, you're in grade 7, you graduate into grade 8. After grade 8, you're going into tertiary education. Tertiary education, you start seeing your peers slowly getting married. And as you were saying, others will start saying, I'm Mrs. So-and-so, I'm Mrs. Mwape, I'm Mrs. Mlenga, I'm Mrs. what and what. There are those pressures that are there. And you're lucky you came from a family that at least didn't put this so much pressures on you. What can you tell those ladies out there?
First, they have to find themselves. They are born in this world for a purpose. We did not come on earth just to get married. I think God wants us to do more, add value to the world. In whatever sphere we are in, we are all talented in one or the other. Let's explore the talent. Let not people drive you, drive yourself.
Definitely.
Okay, so I keep telling the single girls, find yourself. Who am I? What is it that I want to be in life? What do I want to achieve? That's number one. In the process of doing your work, you may find Mr. Right. Okay,
Definitely.
but you must love first who you are. Love yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror every day you wake up and say, I was born for a purpose. You were not born for an individual.
Yes.
Okay, and don't panic. If you don't get married, you are still a person and will love you. There is nothing wrong if you at all you don't find somebody you don't like. I mean, don't get married to somebody you know very well that you want to be happy with. So if you are in the process of this journey and you don't find somebody along the way and you are 68, so what?
Definitely.
We'll still love you.
So what? Definitely.
But and you will find one, and if you don't, it's not a crime.
Definitely. And when I went for the survey, I met some people who were saying, no, women sometimes just rush into getting married like that because of finances, because of stability. What's your comment on that?
There are many reasons. Others rush in because they want to have children as early as possible. They don't want to have children at 70, you know. So that is another reason. And others panic again because now if I don't have children when I'm 20, 25, 30, then they now start having children outside wedlock. Those have other consequences as well for you and for the children. Now, others, it's finance. But you know, that is a cheap thinking. Because if I marry because of finance, I don't hold the life of my husband. What if today it drops dead?
Imagine.
Then what happens to me? If I marry, and also these days jobs are not guaranteed. Days are gone when your husband maybe will be guaranteed that they'll retire at 50, until they retire they'll be in employment. Now we have redundancies. So your husband can be declared redundant, or your husband can fall sick or lame, or something happens. So what happens? That's why we are saying, first empower yourself.
Definitely.
I will love you, not because of your money. I will love you because I feel you and me can live together. And I must be able to provide, even if you don't provide. Let it be genuine love. So if you think you can marry because you want this, because this person has money, and that person will look after you, that's short-lived thinking.
Very short-lived.
It's very funny, and you know, you shouldn't even imagine it like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you've been talking about empowering, keeping yourself busy. So does education play a role in, you know, just helping a woman be patient for that Mr. Right? Does it play a role?
It does. And you know, it's not only we are talking about education, it's not only academic qualifications. Education, here we are, I'm sure between you and me we are learning from each other. So education, there are a lot of seminars that take place, workshops on different topics. Why don't you get involved? If there's this topic, let me go and attend. If it's academic qualifications, career development, all those things, get busy. Don't have idle time. It's idle time that make people to sin. If I sit here 8 hours doing nothing, I'll start imagining stupid things. Satan will enter. So make yourself busy, and also have time to relax with your friends. When we are saying relaxing, we are not saying drinking away, changing men. For us, that's pleasure. Because I've seen people, if they don't have a boyfriend, it's like they
feel
have
incomplete.
to die. So they change the boyfriend one from the other, and in the end you grow old. You are saying, why do I look young? Because I didn't involve myself in having men around me. I sleep a lot. I find pleasure in sleeping, and I also relax a lot. I laugh a lot. I'm not angry all the time. I don't have an inferiority complex because all these things.
Okay, and that has just reminded me. You're saying, you know, you don't, you relax, you don't get upset easily. There's a notion that
I laugh.
I've heard.
I like laughing.
Yes,
it's
and
nice.
there's a saying. Most people, even workplaces, you'd find if there's a single lady and maybe she's high up there, you'd hear people saying, and maybe she's got a temper or she's moody, they'll always say, hey, that's why she's like that.
That is
What's
society.
your comment?
That is the society we are talking about.
Yes.
Which is negative.
We understand
those people who talk like that, I just don't know what they're talking about. Because in fact, a married woman, for me, is more relaxed than a married woman. Because a married woman has a lot of pressure, double roles and all that kind of thing. So it's just the negative attitude towards women. Whatever a woman does is looked at negatively. Men have more negatives than the women. But as I say, we are now getting into these decision-making jobs, which was not the case before. And it's competitive. We have men who are very jealous to see women